It's a regular Wednesday morning at the Luquan No. 1 middle school. But there's something a little irregular happening. The same teacher is simultaneously at the front of all 8 of the 10th grade classes.
Taxis passed full of passengers as we pedestrians marched onto the pavement. Pedestrians 什么意思啊？
The students in Luquan are watching a remote English lesson via live broadcasting video. Luquan is a poor and rural community in southwest China's Yunnan province. The English teacher on the screen is 800 kilometers away in a classroom at Chengdu No. 7 High School, one of China's most prestigious urban schools. Every year, the Chengdu school alone sends hundreds of kids to top universities in China and abroad. Until recently, the entire Luquan County sent only a few dozen students to college each year and was struggling just to keep kids from dropping out.
我们农村行的怕读书，这个农村有句话叫做“天下三帮苦，赶马读书磨豆腐”。那么磨豆腐现在也有机器来代替了，赶马呢，现在的已经有汽车了，这些就不存在了嘛。所以只有读书是最苦的。
In 2006, Luquan's education department was on a mission to improve education quality with technology. But rather than simply installing computers at schools, they saw an opportunity to link the isolated students to urban schools. That means Luquan students like Li Yan can take the same classes as students in the prestigious schools.
直播的老师会给我们说的很多的故事，说他们在外国发生的事情，然后他们的一些人生不同的阅历，然后其实我们生活中很不会遇到的事。
其实我觉得美国的小孩跟中国的一样惨，他们反正我住的那家，他的小孩一周7天全部排满。
Half of China's population resides in rural villages, and for generations the children who live in the countryside have been left behind. And now the education gap in China is becoming an economic problem for the country. Over 60% of China's labour force does not have a high school degree. The figure is even higher in the nation's remote regions.
If you have 60 or 70% of your labor force that hasn't been to high school, this becomes a huge burden and drag on the economy.
Stanford professor Scott Rosell studies how education affects GDP.
Here you come to middle income, and you've had lots of low-skill, labor-intensive manufacturing and service sector, and then wages rise, factories automate, factories outsource to the rest of the world, and now the labor force needs high-skilled workforce with expertise in math, language, computer skills, things that you learn with high school or higher education.
Between 2007 and 2013, Rosell and his team tracked some 20,000 secondary school students in rural China. The cumulative dropout rate they found could be as high as 63%. One main reason was that going to school cost money, while working at the factories could bring in revenues to the family. But things might be changing. The mix of free school and technology combined with tough enforcement seems to be keeping kids in school in Luquan.
我们现在老师这条线，主要是让孩子们有兴趣，喜欢读书，而政府这条线是依法来读书，你不读书不行，不读书就要惩罚你的父母，可以起诉嘛，所以我们今年是没有辍学的。
Luquan now operates 24 live broadcast classes in its 2 public high schools. The cost is $10,000 per class per year, a huge amount in a place where per capita disposable income is only about $1,300 per year. The local government is paying for it. They're also providing free high school and living subsidies up to $450 a year for each rural student. And more money has been poured into school infrastructures. The national government made education a top priority and granted many rural regions funds to improve schools.
全县的像18年的经济收入呢，地方财政收入是5.6亿元，所以教育的投入呢是10.2亿元。所以曾经呢，我们认为我们县呢就是穷县帮扶教育，
1 billion yuan is a huge investment for a place like Luquan, but only a tiny fraction of the money spent on education in China's urban areas. In 2017, Shanghai and Beijing spent 2 to 4 times more per high school student than Yunnan province. More than 400 schools across China are now using this live broadcast program to try and narrow the inequality between rural and urban education.
You know, China probably is the only place in the entire world now that we have an opportunity to see if we can get long-distance learning to work. China, right, like I said, 100 million kids in rural schools and the infrastructure to do it. Not every school has whiteboards or big screen TVs and high-speed internet, but 60, 70, 80% of the national government has done a tremendous job of putting in the hardware. And so there's this opportunity to try it.
Luquan graduate Meizu Hao took part in the live broadcast program in high school. He once went to visit the school on the other end of the wire.
我到那个成都、西中那边交流之后，发现他们有的学生在高中高1、高2就开始准备托福、雅思，就这个目标非常明确。但是我们根本就没有这个准备的这个条件，所以其实这个跟家庭环境啊，跟什么地区，其实都是有很大的一个关系。
The visit motivated Mei to study harder once he went back to Luquan. Now he's a sophomore student at East China Normal University. Mei wasn't the only one who was inspired. 137 students from Luquan's live broadcast program were accepted at China's top colleges last year. The school has since put up a giant red board outside the school to promote its record-breaking performance. The current students are feeling more confident about their future too. Li Yan will be taking the college entrance exam in June this year. She dreams of studying a foreign language in a top college.
这种直播就看到更优秀的人嘛，所以你就想着自己要朝着就是那种更高的方向去努力，这样才能实现自己的理想。